Okay, this is about implants, part two. So, I mean, where would they put implants? Well, I mean, in your body, in your spinal cord, in your brain, in various glands. I mean, things in your so called physical body. But if you are, I mean, if this is a hologram, I always say a super hologram. Um, and if you think of the holodeck in Star Trek, I'm sorry I always go back to that, but the holodeck, the doctor had an emitter. And so the emitter is what shines the hologram into the super hologram. So if you put an implant either into the emitter or between the emitter and the hologram, you could change the quality of the hologram. I often think that if we're supposed to be in a holographic reality, that the original builders wouldn't have needed an additional implant. It's something to contaminate the hologram. So, I mean, is that what causes disease? I think it could very well be. Aging, I think it could very well be. Um, Dolores Cannon said in her books that there's definitely holographic inserts into our reality put there by, I don't know, I have to go back to her lecture or read her books to try and figure out. But she did say that. So, I mean, that's in this super hologram. There are, um, I can't come back to anything but outside of this hologram that we consider where the earthlings live, there are beings, whether they're human or some other type of being, that manipulate what goes on in our reality. Is that fair? Um, Sounds awfully weird, but when you get right down to the whole idea of living in a hologram, um, the whole thing is weird. I mean, different elements of weird. The simulation hypothesis is that, that the apparent humans on planet Earth are in a simulated reality so that the people of the future can look back and see what it might have been like before whatever they are arose. Or maybe they're trying to run a Monte Carlo scenario. They've got multiple versions of planet Earth to try and, see whatever. I mean, that's what various scientists do. They can run Monte Carlo scenarios to try and do their planning, see what might happen. So it gets back to, what am I? What am I? Am I just a petri dish test tube experiment created by some other kind of beings? I think so. I think we are kind of an experiment. Someone is running. Now, my guides always said that I'm living in a data tape. So the whole reality I'm living in, it's like a 3D feely movie. And whatever I am, I'm plugged into this reality and it's already pre-programmed. Everything that's going to happen is going to happen. So I've said this in previous lectures. How can I prove it? I can't. I can use different reality boxes to explain the same kind of thing. Some people, like, James Redfield says that if you're getting a lot of synchronicities, that's a sign you're on a path towards higher consciousness, I guess, or, bringing heaven to earth. But if you lived in Keanu Reeves's Matrix, it would be pretty trivial to create apparent synchronicities around you. And if you're on a data tape, created holographic reality, and the tape was where all the data was stored that was emitted into this reality that we experience, then if they got that kind of technology, creating the synchronicities would also be trivial. So I do tend to discount um, the synchronicities meaning anything, but I still pay attention to them, And you might think it odd, but I pay attention to little noises and clicks, and you know, if the music is playing, and at the same time someone sends me a text message and it makes a little, whatever the noise is on my phone, then I pay attention to what the word spoken in the music was. Um, One of the recent Arcturian Council mm, channelings by Daniel Scranton, the Arcturian said that you need to pay attention to these kind of things. So I'm way off the wall. Come on, really? Seriously? You listen to the ping of your phone and then you see what else is going on? I know, it sounds very far out. But this is what the Arcturian Council, you go listen to them, Daniel Scranton, he's on YouTube, and that's what they said. You got to pay attention. They basically said it's not just going to come verbally, all the stuff, your guidance. Your guidance is going to come in these other kind of ways. So, and I've already told you many times, watch license plates. As you're driving by, watch your trip odometer on your car. And if you get it comes up to a triple number, pay attention to what the billboards are. Pay attention to what the billboards say when you're driving along and you've got the music playing on the radio or on a CD or on Sirius satellite, whatever it is. When you drive by, see if there's an interrelationship between the billboard and the music. Pay attention to what people are wearing when you go to the mall and what your eyes are naturally drawn to. If you look at somebody and they've got some word, and mine says Route 73, so put that down. What does it mean? I've also got Dakota. Everyone gets dressed, and goes out, so what goes in their head that makes them choose to wear the different clothes? I'm going to tell you something tells them. I don't believe that it's just their independent brain that's choosing. I think it's all, if you follow this data date tape thing, everything and everyone is on this data date tape in this reality movie. So your job is to pay attention to where your eyes go, pay attention to the words that people are wearing on their clothing. If you've got apps on your phone that you like to play with, pay attention to what the apps is telling you. I always said before, look up the symbolism of things. The other day, I was driving down the road and I saw a deer run across the road and almost got hit by a car. So you could look up deer symbolism, or you can just note it in your head and then see what happens later on when maybe somebody will tell you a story about when they were driving down the road and almost hit a deer, and maybe there's a story that connects it all. That's the other day I saw somebody and they were wearing a T-shirt that said John Deere, the tractor manufacturer. What does it all mean? Sometimes it's very hard. I mean, even when you're looking and you see like one of those custom license plates, and it's one day I saw one that said RN, registered nurse. But sometimes some of them are, they could mean different things. So it's just part of the game. Do I ever get anywhere with these things? Well, sometimes it leads to a bit of a synchronicity. Some of these ones, they're filed away and maybe something will happen down the road. But all I'm saying is just be conscious what you're seeing. If you're seeing, if your eyes are drawn to the television in a sports bar and the first player that comes up and you on the screen when you first start looking, look to see what number they're wearing and then look up the symbology of what that number is. I usually go to like angel number, but there's also riding the beast is another one if you're not into angels and you want to see, well, what would the devil say. I mean, you can go different places, just use your intuition. But where your eye goes, if it's all pre programmed for your body to go through this, then that's what you have to do. You just have to pay attention to what your eyes see, what your ears hear. You know, if the whatever happens, just pay attention to every little detail about whatever happens to you during your day. And if you happen to be walking downstairs past and the television is on, and well, at that particular moment, when you walk by the television, pay attention to the television. Maybe there's something there that particular instant it is for you. But you have to just, I mean, for me, it's automatic, and maybe it is for you. Maybe I'm just talking out of the side of my mouth and you already know this. But it may be that I'm cluing you in. I don't know what roots means to you. If you're in Australia, it means a certain thing. All the Australians know something. 73 is a number. You could look up the number. Dakota, what does Dakota mean to you? Sometimes I try and read backwards what, what this is, because when I'm looking at my phone, it's showing me things in mirror image. So it's ATOKA, looks like more like an O than a D. Adokeo. What does adokeo mean to you? Or sometimes you got to change the pronunciation to it. Atok. I don't know. That doesn't make any sense. But AT, I usually think of old-fashioned computers. There was XT computers and AT computers. Talk, T-O-K, that, talk, and then, T-A-L-K, talk, and then K-A-O is like kaopectate for your tummy, or if it's CAD, K-A-D, it could be like C-A-D, or like AutoCAD, or it's for, the engineers when they're making their electronic blueprints. I've got all my books here in the bookshelf, and sometimes what I do is I just pick one out at random and turn to a page at random and just put my finger down and see what the word is. That's called stichiomancy. If you do the same thing with the Bible, it's called bibliomancy. They're all methods of divination. So look on your search engine and look up divination, methods of divination, and there's lots and lots and lots of different ways you can do divinations. And whatever you do, it's part of your reality game that you can play with and try and figure it all out. I'm Harry Weaver.